Hey people, it's me again. So, anyways, it just feels strange that um 5 years ago was the bug as far as that goes in terms of, you know, the lockdowns and masking and all of this, you know. But um I'm just not really certain what to say about all that because I feel like in a way that both sides were at fault when it came to the pandemic itself. For that matter, and especially like in the early stages of the pandemic, that the Democrats were backpedaling on a lot of things, but it simply was that Trump was president at the time. And then as soon as like Biden became president, they were so all into, you know, all of the vaccine mandates and blah 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 and and it was just the ridiculousness of how tribalistic people could be on both sides of the aisle when it came to you know this sort of thing like the pandemic itself. Yeah, so that is just one of the biggest things that have to kind of put a takeaway into that matter. But still, um, it was one of the things that I had talked about it periodically when it came to that was not just um, that, but it was also the fact that it was a major centerpiece for the 2020 presidential election and all. And in some ways, I think that was partly the reason why Trump had lost re-election back in 2020, you know, because of the pandemic. But if the pandemic didn't occur at all, it would have possibly would have been that Trump would have gotten reelected anyways, and then there would have been the whole 4 more years of that, and then by now it would have been he would have been termed out, and then Democrats would rest easy, and it is one of those little things that the Democrats just if they would have realized that that sort of thing would have bite them in the ass, they probably wouldn't do that. And it's like the whole short term victory over a long term victory kind of thing, you know. And I think that's just the thing that the Democrats are just paying for it in the long run, for that matter, because it was just the same thing what happened with 2016 in some ways, but um, I think when it came to last year's presidential election, that what really doomed Harris' chances of winning was, you know, Biden himself. He could have just decided not to run early on in the early stages of the election, which would have allowed um, Kamala Harris to uh, have more time to prepare for the election in and of itself, and that was the biggest problem that I look when it came to the Harris's campaign and all was it was just all rushed and bit disorganized to say it lightly of that sort, you know. In a way, when it came to Trump, Trump had all those years of not being president to really uh, focus more on uh, what would work next time around. You know, and so it was just one of those little things. So considering the other thing that I wanted to talk about is what is in store when it comes to the 2028 presidential election of that sort, and let alone the midterm election. I mean, I think for one, Gavin Newsom, he might throw his hat in the ring as far as 2028, but that's assuming if Kamala Harris decides to run for governor. But she may have a strong chance of winning in 2026 as far as that goes, and then depending on other factors when it comes to the 2026 midterm election, because in that midterm election there is no U.S. Senate election there, but it also depends on any of the other states that have the U.S. Senate election next year, and that could tip the scale slightly in favor as far as when it comes to the Democrats, for that matter. But in a way, I think considering the next thing would be is that who's gonna be Harris's ring mate as far as that goes, but and then let alone other people that may throw their hat in the ring of that sort. Because I don't think Bernie's gonna do that again, because he's probably he might not be around in 2028 at that point, and that's just another thing. And then I don't know, as far as Elizabeth Warren, she may have a shot, but then again, maybe not. It's just one of the little things again where they may have to have somebody that's not too old but not too young either. But if it was somebody that's around my age, could work at that point, since by the time the next presidential election is going to occur, I'm going to be 47, and that's just another thing, and which I feel like I just don't really seem to think that's going to be that long, So, anyways, I guess that's probably it. So, talk to you guys later.